The following is a CSPN Media podcast presentation.
Let me tell you about who deserves a shot at the United States heavyweight.
Let's hear it.
I'm the champion. I ought to know. You know, I've been sizing up guys since I came to the WCW. And I think the one guy that stands out the most, the guy that I think has earned a title shot, El Dandy, I think you're a heck of a wrestler. You're a great technician in the ring. You're a jam-up guy. I don't see any reason.
Wait a minute. El Dandy has been wrestling in the cruiserweight division here. Please.
He's a great wrestler.
He's a great wrestler, but my goodness sakes, it's 50 pounds
Who are
different.
you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Well, let's talk about some serious
How about hypnosis? Let's get thrown.
Psychosis?
Whatever. He's a great wrestler, you know.
Hello, and welcome to episode 255 of the WrassleCast. I'm your host, Don Delarente, and I'm joined by my SmackDown Matters correspondent, Miss Didi Jonet.
Hey.
What's going on, birthday girl?
Well, I'm celebrating my birthday till October 17th. Gotta give myself a whole
birthday month. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's like, I would say it's just 4 weeks, but no, it was all of September. And then I'll give you 17 days in October. So you have all the time in the world to celebrate.
So the whole month of September, and then the cool down, the beginning of October. Okay.
Because the weather's better in October anyway. September has those like late 90-degree days, and you're like, bitch, I didn't sign up for this. October, you get a good 72, and you're good to go.
Over here, it's cold till like early November. I mean, it's hot. Over here, it's hot until like early November.
Oh, that sounds awful. I'm sorry. I don't like that.
Anything good wind up in the gift box of Miss Didi Jonet for this year's birthday?
No. No. Well, somebody asked me if I wanted nudes, but I don't talk to him. Like, I literally don't know him, so it's like, what? I mean,
stranger danger news.
And it's like, if you're not just gonna like be bold and post it, like, why are you asking me, do I want it? Like, I don't know. And then I go on your page and it's like, I really don't know. Like, I want it? Like, I don't get me disappointed. So it, like, I kind of left it up to him. I ain't reply to him though, and he ain't send it, so I guess it wasn't what it needed to be. Oh, did the other guy send me news? No, he didn't send me news for my birthday. He sent me news because he a hoe.
It was just a regular day for him, huh?
Hey, it happens like that sometimes. No, I think, did he send me news? Why am I acting like I don't know? He did not send me news. No, I didn't get any news for my birthday, and I didn't get any money either.
So everybody send Didi news.
So what you're saying is there's still a chance.
I'll reiterate what I said on Twitter. I'll take your news. I would prefer money. But I'll happily, read your news.
Are the DMs open, Didi?
Yeah, my DMs are open. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, don't hop in there if you ain't hopping in there with purpose, but my DMs are open. And don't hop in there if you got a wife. I ain't trying to be no sister wife. Unless you real fine and got a lot of money, then maybe.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't know about that, Didi. You got me blocked, so.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
What?
Yes.
Why?
I have no idea.
What'd you do?
No, you have me blocked.
What'd you do?
Well, let's not check that. Yeah, I was completely blocked. I couldn't see your replies. Somebody was tweeting at you, and then your name was popping up.
Which account did I block? Well, which account were you blocked on? Because don't you have like 6?
We'll talk about that later. I only have 2.
Are you blocked on both?
No, the other one I can see your tweets.
That's what I thought. Okay, you're trying to make me feel all bad.
But my main one is blocked.
Well, which one is? Well, okay, fine. We'll talk about it later.
You probably didn't know who I was. You were like, why am I following this dude? Like,
that sounds right. I mean, I don't know. I don't ever mean to block anybody. Now, I mute people all day, but I don't mean to block nobody. I only block the problematic Caucasian people who argue with me, and then I'm like, why am I arguing with you? Who are you? You have a flag in your Abby.
The last thing I remember is we were talking about TJP, and TJP was on the screen. I'm like, this dude's gimmick is that he plays video games. I wonder what Didi's is. A day later, I noticed I was blocked.
But I feel like I saw that. Maybe I hit a wrong button. I don't know.
You meant to reply LOL, but instead you replied, oh, blocked.
Well, you know I be drinking, Sam. Things happen.
Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. Continue with the show.
The other voice that you hear jumping in, the WrassCast correspondent, Mr. Samuel Kalunga. What's going on, Sam?
Howdy, everybody. Just over here in the great state of confusion.
Thank you for joining us this week, carving out a little bit of time so we can get some of your thoughts and wisdoms on the week that was in WWE wrestling. So we're going to jump right into it as we have lots of matches to talk about and review. Clash of Champions was this past Sunday. Thank you to everybody who joined the live tweet, used the hashtags Say No to Pre-Show and Cast of Champions. And also thank you to everybody who showed up for the Retro Cast of Champions as we watched the very first Clash of Champions from 1988. So the very first match on the kickoff show for this year's Clash of Champions was our Cruiserweight title match between Drew Gulak, Humberto Carrillo, and Lince Dorado. Lince Dorado misses the shooting star press. Carrillo heads up top. The Aztec press connects. Gulak runs Carrillo into the ring post, and he cradles Lince Dorado for the win. So the champ retains. Good little match. Very much the focus was on Humberto Carrillo.
As it should be.
He pulled out a lot of his cool moves, and he definitely looked like a star. And hopefully we'll get a singles match between Drew Gulak and Humberto Carrillo.
Okay, so who is this character? I think this is one of the things I texted you. Who is this person? I've never seen him before.
He was on NXT, and then
that's why. Okay, yeah.
He was good, and then they kind of transitioned him off of NXT on the 205 Live because they needed more quality people over there. Our second match on the kickoff show, AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander, United States title match. AJ Styles cut Cedric off with a reverse DDT. Styles then flies in with the phenomenal forearm. Then AJ hits the Styles Clash, and AJ Styles gets the win. After the match, the OC arrived, and they beat down Cedric Alexander. This match lasted about 5 minutes. Cedric got about 4 or 5 things in. He got cut off. Phenomenal forearm Styles Clash. Then he got beat down. Golly, they buried his ass in his hometown. That sucked. Now it's time to start the show proper as we start off with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defending the Raw Tag Team titles against I'm going to call him Bobby Roode, even though my notes say Robert Roode.
Yeah, they've been calling him Robert Roode. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Bobby. And Dolph Ziggler, the glorious show-offs, as I like to call them personally.
Dang it, Bobby.
Bobby Roode sets for the DDT, but Braun takes out Bobby Roode while accidentally running Dolph Ziggler into Seth Rollins. Braun then gets dumped to the floor. We get the glorious DDT by Bobby Roode to Seth Rollins, and we have new Raw Tag Team Champion.
Well, all right.
So we're setting up the stage for later on tonight. Miss Didi Janae, your fantasy does not come true as last week you were
Per usual.
You were just hoping that he would leave with still a title. We were hoping he would have all the titles, but at least one.
It's a running gag. I never get what I want. So
we have Bayley facing off against Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title. You get a big boot by Charlotte. Then she starts laying the boots to Bayley. Bayley exposes the bottom turnbuckle. Then she slams Charlotte into the turnbuckle. She cradles Charlotte up, gets the 3 count, and then she ran to the back so fast. She was like, I'm gone.
Maybe she was like, hey, everybody, this is my impression of Earl Hebner It's Survivor Series 97.
Yeah, man, he hit 3 count. The referee hit the 3. She rolled out of the ring, grabbed her title, and sprinted to the back. So that was really funny. The New Day, they faced off against the Revival in defense of their SmackDown tag team titles. They really fucked Xavier Woods up in this match. I mean, there is this one part where he was like absent for like 7 minutes of the match, and they were just working over Big E. But Woods finally makes recovery. He's fighting for his life. He gets chop blocked, and then the Shatter Machine follows. The Revival refused to cover. They look to punish Xavier Woods' knee some more. Dawson then locks on the Indian Death Lock. Xavier Woods, he tries to fight it, but he eventually has to tap. And we have new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Revival. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, they defended the women's tag team titles against Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville. Nikki tags in and heads up top, then jumps down and takes out Sonya. Nikki avoids the V-trigger and then hits the Anarchist suplex for the win as Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross retain. This was a nothing match right here in the middle of the show, followed by another nothing match here in the middle of the show. Nakamura versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Nakamura sets, the Kinshasa is countered. We get a skull crushing finale by The Miz. Sammy distracts the ref to stop a pin. The Miz then chases Sammy around the ring. Nakamura cuts him off, and back in, he hits the Kinshasa, and Nakamura retains the Intercontinental title. So basically, up until this point, we've had like 8 matches, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches. And really, none of them have been worth a damn.
Yikes.
The Cruiserweight match in the beginning. That's probably the best match out of the ones we've seen so far. And then we get to the part where business picks up. Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. Sasha gets a chair. She slots it in the ring, and then she grabs another chair while the ref is distracted, and she nails Becky Lynch with the chair. The running knee strike follows for a 2 count. Sasha gets the chair again, and the ref takes it away. This time, Becky grabs the chair, and she's swinging for Sasha, but Sasha moves, and she hits the ref, and the ref goes down. And at the time, nobody knew it, but of course, that's an automatic disqualification. So, with the ref down, Becky starts attacking Sasha with chair shots, but Sasha runs into the crowd as Becky chases, and they brawl into the stands. Becky works to disarm her. They continue to go deeper into the crowd and into the concourse. Back into the arena, they brawl back into the ring. Sasha spears Becky into the barricade. Becky fights back with chair shots and uses the chair to lock on the disarmer. The refs and the agents break it up as the champion stands tall. Now this was a hell of a match and a hell of a brawl. They tore it down. Sasha has reinvigorated Becky, made her worth a damn again, and she feels like the biggest star again. This was fun. That was a lot of fun. Next match that wasn't so much fun, Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton, WWE Championship match. Orton sets up for an RKO, but Kofi curls him for a 2 count. We get the RKO by Orton, and he covers and then gets a 2 count as Kofi makes the ropes. Kofi counters the punt, and he hits the Trouble in Paradise out of nowhere for the win.
Yeah.
This was like 20 minutes, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was the bad version of Randy Orton for 20 minutes. So slow. It'd be different if he like changed his speed up a little bit, but man, he just goes so slow. And he got most of the offense in this match too, so It was boring. The Street Profits are talking backstage, recapping the night when King Booker arrives, and they have the little interaction, so that was really fun.
All hail.
Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan, no disqualification match. Roman hits Rowan with a pipe and runs the boom camera into Rowan, and he does it again. The Superman punch follows, and Reigns then charges, and he runs into a big boot from Luke Harper. The Bludgeon Brothers reunite, and they just start destroying Roman Reigns. The claw slam from Eric Rowan connects, and he pins Roman for the win.
Wow.
It wasn't the doppelganger, Miss Didi Jonet, but
Then what?
he did have assistance, just as I predicted.
It's what?
I know.
Sure.
I know.
Okay.
I know. You got like a 6'7", 335-pound plot hole in a story you've been building up all summer and into the early fall.
It's so stressful. It's like, wow. If this was the case, it could have just been him the first time. Like, it makes me loud in my apartment, and I don't want them yelling at me tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna be quiet. But it makes me so angry. So mad.
Main event time: Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman. WWE Universal Championship match. Braun hits a top rope splash, but when he connects, he comes up holding his knee. He has to hesitate before he can make the pin, and he only gets 2 count. Seth, he's working a sleeper hold. Braun starts to fade. He powers up, and he escapes, and Seth hits a blackout for a 1 count. Then Seth hits another blackout for a 2 count. The third blackout also gets a 2 count. Braun then looks for his power slam, but his knee gives out, and Seth hits the pedigree and a 4th blackout for the win. This was a really good match. It's like 10 minutes. They went real hard. Braun Strowman, very impressive with that fucking splash. That was a really cool looking move and spot. So, of course, Seth is doing what all champions do. He's celebrating in the ring. Then he leaves the ring. He's celebrating up the ramp. Turns around to face the crowd. Give him that one last money shot on the ramp with the title. And that's when the lights start to flicker. Things start to go awry. And the Fiend appears behind Seth. He lays Rollins out on the stage with his sister Abigail. Sam. This was WCW pay-per-view booking circa 1997 through 99. Perfect. C-level pay-per-view with a fucking A+ angle to end it.
I'm more into 97 because by 98, 99 it was kind of trash.
By middle of 98, yeah.
So yeah, perfect. Yeah, 97 booking.
Yeah, 97 was a hell of a year for WCW, though.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, but this was the main event. Rowan versus Roman. Say that 5 times fast. And Becky versus Sasha. Best 3 matches on the card. And they were near the end of the card, so we sat through a lot of ho-hum to get through that.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this. I really would have fell asleep.
Yeah, there were some lows in there, man. It wasn't the hottest show that they've ever put forth for a pay-per-view, but it is what it is. It was what it was. It, like I said, it set up a really interesting thing coming into Monday Night Raw, which I'll turn over to you at this point, Mr. Samuel Kalunga, for our Rawcast report.
All right. We have Monday Night Raw. It is, hold on to your hats, everyone. It's the Hulu version.
Oh, I get to do my feelings. Yes.
I wish there's a segment, there's a series of segments that I wish they hadn't included because they were really stupid. My God. What did they put? What were the alternatives? Because they did not need to put this shit in there. All right, Monday Night Raw, September 16, 2019, from the University of Tennessee. Seth Rollins comes down to cut a boring 20-minute promo. Michael Cole calls him the Monster Slayer. He comes out and gives mad props to Braun Strowman for giving him the fight of his life. He talks about The Fiend, and the crowd chants, Yowie Wowie. Seth says that he will face him at Hell in a Cell. The Firefly Funhouse interrupts. Bray says he's glad that he's okay. Seth calls him sick. Weird shit ensues. Bray teases The Fiend might come out tonight. The camera focuses on Bray. Seth gets ready to fight. He gets all, he's like, I put his deuce up. But then Bray just waves goodbye and ends this little show.
And Rambling Rabbit is like, get out of here, run, don't do it, you don't know what you're doing. And he like squashes him, trying to give him the warning.
Nice. Okay, so commentary tells us the card as the Firefly music plays and the card appears upside down. Dasha tries to interview Braun. Braun says the next person needs to get in his face is going to get these hands. All right, so come on. Piece of junk. All right, the new Raw Tag Team Champions, Bobby Roode and Dolph, come down. The new SmackDown Champions, The Revival, come down. Bobby Roode talks and the crowd begins to wet him. Brawny the Strowman comes down. The Revival try to cut him off at the ramp. Braun makes short work of both men. Roode gets out of the ring and Dolph takes the brunt of Braun's punishment. Braun goes back to work on all four on the outside, shoulder tackling them one by one.
So let's get this right. You just crowned these new tag team champions. They just formed a new team. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. They have their first title shot. They get the belts. You got the Revival, defeat the New Day. And then what do? You have Braun kill both teams? What the fuck are they doing?
Well, just like later on, you had Bayley come out to stop Charlotte, and Charlotte just boots her, and that's pretty much the end of that.
It's like,
and it was a terrible boot, but that's okay.
It's like, what do you ever want us to care about tag team wrestling in this company? Do you? Because you fucking just murdered both sets of champions with one guy.
Right, one guy who actually won the titles with a child. Was a 10-year-old boy. Okay, so Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are drinking coffee backstage. So I couldn't understand a word that Nikki was saying, so I'm just going to go off of what Alexa says. Alexa says something about the titles, or taking the trash out, or it's trash day, or put the recycle out with the trash, or something. Something about trash. And that's pretty much all I got out of this promo. Okay, so R-Truth and Carmella are in a basketball museum.
Oh,
he lets her know.
Hold on.
Is it anything pertinent, or is it more like weird shit?
We got some skippage here. Cedric Alexander and the Viking Raiders, they faced off against the OC. Eric battles back. He tags in Ivar for the hot tag. He runs wild on the OC. He tags in Cedric Alexander, who hits the springboard clothesline. It breaks down. Alexander hits the back handspring kick. Then AJ Styles pins Cedric Alexander with the phenomenal forearm. So they brawl after the match. Ivar flies to the floor, wiping out the pile. And then Alexander eats the Super Styles Clash off the ropes from AJ Styles, who stands tall.
See, I would have rather watched that than the crap that came out later.
Tough 24 hours for Cedric Alexander. He got this phenomenal forearm in the Styles Clash on Sunday. Then he got the fucking Super Styles Clash on Monday Night Raw. You know the Super Styles Clash, the most dangerous move in wrestling.
Indeed. All right, so R-Truth and Carmella are in the basketball museum. He lets her know that the decorative ball above them could fall and they could get squashed at any moment. Is there a little subliminal messaging there? They could get squashed. Or is R-Truth not that smart to come up with that on his own?
I'm pretty sure he probably has some help.
Libertarian Glenn Jacobs appears out of nowhere. They make jokes about the Tennessee Volunteers women's basketball team. R-Truth, he says he knows Glenn from somewhere. Is he Magic Johnson? Is he Larry Bird? Glenn says he has a limo waiting outside and he'd love to show him around Knoxville. Is this a possible pitting predicament that Mayor Jacobs is looking to get truth in? Let's see. All right, Don. Through the annals of WWF, WWE, we have had some classic matchups in the King of the Ring finale. There's been, for example, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Bret Hart, Brock Lesnar versus Rob Van Dam, and even the classic Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Jake the Snake Roberts. It's 2019 and we have Chad Gable versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, but don't sound so down, my friend.
Chad Gable put on a hell of a match.
Baron Corbin held his own too. There was two people in there.
Nah.
Nah.
This Chad Gable showed the hell out, and Baron Corbin won. So whatever.
Yes, y'all be mad if you want. King Corbin is in the house. I was thoroughly.
You like to watch the world burn, is what I've noticed.
I was thoroughly entertained by all of this. The match was fantastic. Like you said, Chad Gable put on a show, and Baron Corbin kept up his end too. And then Baron Corbin got the win with a fucking end days out of nowhere. And yeah, King Corbin in the house.
So anyway, all right. So the Street Profits are backstage. Apparently, there's a gender reveal party for Maria's baby. Is it going to be a hen? That's the only way this could be interesting. And I put on my notes, why was this not cut out of the Hulu version? So it ends up being a boy, and Maria announces that it belongs to Ricochet or something. Mike slaps Ricochet and tells him to meet him in the ring. This is dumb. So you get Ricochet versus Mike Kanellis. Mike tries to get Ricochet to fight him instead of just going after him and beating him senseless. Ricochet is obviously holding back, but he gets pushed and he makes quick work of Mike, and that's the end of that. Firefly Funhouse time. Bray has a wall frame photos of some of the superstars that he's put out. Their eyes are X'd out. He said something that I wasn't paying attention to. Back in the ring, Maria
says that he needs to go find some more friends.
Oh, okay. Sure. Maria's on the ramp yelling at Mike. She says Ricochet is not the father, but she figured if she embarrassed Mike enough, maybe he'd man up and step up for their unborn child. Maria says that she is going to reveal the real father of her child, and then Rusev comes out and marches to the ring. Mike is crying.
Okay, so hold on, Miss Didi Janae.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this version of Rusev?
He fine. I like him. Mm-hmm.
Even with that Tom Selleck, Mr. Baseball mustache?
I don't mind it at all.
Okay.
It is okay with me.
This is still dumb. This is the dumbest thing ever. Mike says that if Rusev is the father, then congratulations. He throws the mic down and leaves. But Rusev lays him out. Now, I mentioned how dumb this is. The bell rings and we have a match. Rusev kicks Mike, puts him in the clutch, and Mike taps out.
Where the is Lana? And how the hell did you propose to Rusev? Yeah, we're going to bring you back. Mm-hmm. And you're going to do this. And this is going to be what your story is going to be. And yet, your wife? Nope, she can't be anywhere in sight. Huh?
Yeah.
Did you go for that, Miss Didi Janae?
I will stab you. So, no.
So Libertarian Glenn Jacobs shows R-Truth the stadium where the volunteers play. Glenn introduces R-Truth to his friend, a Knox County police officer. Glenn says not only is he a cop, he's also a referee. R-Truth realizes what is happening, tries to excuse himself, runs into the goalpost, knocks himself out, and Glenn Jacobs pins R-Truth and becomes the new WWE 24/7 champion.
And when he's running up the tunnel, he's like, "You still got it."
He says, "I still got it.
I still got it." Yeah, that's pretty funny. Shout out to Jade to the max, because they were all over her favorite school in the world, the University of Tennessee, on her football field and their Hall of Fame, and talked about Pat Sutton. So yeah, this was a real Jade to the max centric episode this week.
I like how R-Truth was like, what? They're volunteers? So it's like the little Santas from the Salvation Army ringing the bell. All right, so more Firefly Funhouse. Bray puts Seth's picture on the wall. All right, so we get a vignette for the AOP. They sit in chairs and talk. And they mention the WWE tag teams and they call them SWAFT.
SAWFT.
Sure. So what did I miss something? Were you gonna?
Rey Mysterio and Cesaro. They had a match. Cesaro works into the Three Amigos until Rey counters into a Hurricane Rana 619, and then Rey Mysterio hits the Code Red for the win.
So far they've cut out 2 matches and they've kept in like stupid shit.
They got to drive home the returns and the interesting storylines, sir.
I'd rather see matches. All right, so Boston Hug Connection versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Okay, why does heel Bailey, as I learned at the pay-per-view, heel Bailey still come out with that theme music and the wacky inflatable tube man?
Because heel Bailey isn't really heel Bailey in her eyes. She's showing people how to be loyal and be there for their friends, no matter what their friends are.
I see.
How they act.
You know, I wish there were 3 people at the announce desk who could tell me this. I just said it comes off very flat because it has no reaction. At least if she had a heel intro, the crowd can boo or show their disapproval in some way. This is just weird.
They might end up changing it here soon.
Okay, so Sasha Banks during the match makes Nikki Cross tap out. While the title's not on the line, I would rather see that. Sasha Banks grabs a chair. Becky Lynch hobbles down. The 2 women, and she has her own chair. The 2 women have a chair fight. Bayley gets in the ring, and now she has a chair. Charlotte Flair comes down. Bayley, the stooge, goes to attack her, but Charlotte gives her a little kick. And then she falls over like some kind of comedy show or something. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The 2 women corner Sasha. Sasha goes after Becky, but Becky hits her with a chair and then gets her out of the ring. Sasha crawls away, and the 2 ladies try to regroup as they go up the ramp. That was not a good look for those 2 at all. Are you guys there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. We agree.
Sasha is in the locker room. She cuts a promo at the camera addressing Becky Lynch and challenges her to a rematch at Hell in a Cell. Libertarian Glenn Jacobs arrives in his limo. R-Truth is riding on the roof. Glenn gets out of the limo. R-Truth carries him and pins him, becoming the new 24/7 champion. Glenn goes to chokeslam R-Truth, but then Truth convinces him not to, and reminding him that the title is 48/7, just like his job. The 2 call a truce, and they enter the arena to enjoy the rest of Monday Night Raw. Becky Lynch is backstage. She addresses Sasha in her own promo. You know, I really wish they would let them write their own promos because the way she spoke has a. Let's see, the words that she uses. Okay, for example, she says, "I got fined after I inadvertently hit the ref." That is the exact same thing that Michael Cole said when he was describing it during the recap. She could say something else like, "Oh, when I hit the ref," or "No, when I accidentally hit the ref," or "when he got in my way," or something. It just seems like it's just so much of regurgitated garbage. I don't know. I might be the only one who thinks this. I don't know. All right, so Seth Rollins versus Bobby Roode. I like how Renee Young calls Doll's pants Forever 21 jeans. Dee, do you agree?
I do. Yes.
I didn't really see it. What was it about them?
I don't remember them, but Dolph has terrible style. So if that's what she said, I fully believe she was quite there. Probably acid wash with holes in the knee. He seems like the type.
You know when he came out with that dumb jean jacket?
Yeah, it wasn't
that wasn't a good look at all.
The last time his style was good was when he still had brown hair. So it's eh.
Hey Don, remember when they dyed his hair so he could look like, what's his name? Oh, you probably weren't watching at the time, Don.
No, I probably wasn't watching then.
Yeah, he was. Dang, who was the other guy? He was in a tag team with Kofi Kingston. They were called Air Boom.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't have it. No, from 2000.
This was
9 or 10 to until we started doing this show, probably like 2014.
Evan Bourne.
Oh, Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston were a tag team? Nice.
Yeah, they were called Air Boom. So, okay, for some reason, Dolph was still being managed by Vicky Guerrero. And he came out with brown hair, with like, just from in, like it looked really, really like fake. And everybody was like, oh, look, he looks just like Evan Bourne. And he quickly got rid of it. All right, so the match happens.
This one could be over. Rollins able to block and then slip underneath, and he's got Robert Roode up high into a buckle bomb. Wow. Kick. Stop. Good night, Robert. Cover by Rollins. And Ziggler breaking things up. The official's got to call for the bell. Well, things have just gone from bad to worse for Rollins, because here comes AJ Styles and the OC, Anderson and Gallows, and Seth Rollins trying to fight back, but he finds himself in a 5-on-1 situation. The OC continuing to run roughshod over Monday Night Raw. Seth Rollins finds himself in the crosshairs. The Magic Killer. Rollins can't even stand. He's defenseless. Wait a minute. Could it be? Yes! The Demon Kane! The Big Red Machine bringing hell back to Monday Night Raw. The Demon Kane marching to the ring. And the OC trying to confront Kane. Vintage Kane with a choke slam. The OC suffering the wrath of the devil's favorite demon. Double choke slam. Bray Wyatt. The Fiend Bray Wyatt attacking Demon Kane. The Mandible Claw. Kane is helpless. The Fiend Bray Wyatt is on Monday Night Raw.
And that is your Monday Night Raw. This was hot garbage.
What? The ending? This was actually a really good.
No, the whole show.
If you watched it in the whole 3-hour context,
if I watched it in the whole thing, I would jump off the roof.
No, except for the Maria part, it was actually really good.
That really killed it for me. That and like some of the other stuff they did on there was just like this is even though Archer was really entertaining and everything, that kind of took me out of it for a minute. I don't know. Like the Rollins and Rude match was okay, but then just the way it ended was just really stupid. And then they had all that other stuff happening. It happened at the end, which was really great. The tag match with the women was okay. But yeah, it's just that Maria stuff really, really killed it for me.
It killed the crowd too. They were hot to start out. And then Chad Gable and Corbin had them going, and then they came out with that, and then it took a minute for them to get back up. It's probably when Becky Lynch came out and they had the chair fight where the crowd kind of like got back into the match, but that was probably like an hour, 20 minutes after the start of the show. But all in all, the show, except for that strange little whatever 20 minutes of TV, it was good because it was cool to see the Firefly Funhouse kind of sprinkled throughout the whole show. It's the most we've seen of Bray and the Fiend and him interacting with somebody else.
Wait, so that's not every week?
Not like that, no.
Okay. I thought that was pretty much like a portion of the show.
No, they've been trying to fight their norm and not overexpose it.
Okay. That's really shocking.
Yes. So,
was it? Remember when, like a month or two ago, but before the Fiend made his first appearance, they were sprinkling like the little characters all around like the arena.
Right.
I thought I was the only one that noticed that because I think somebody was walking and then you see like the Vulture, his hip popping out of a crate.
Yeah, it was like the Miz one time. They were like things were popping up while he was walking. You know how they do that, whether they're walking to the ring as they go to commercial before the match starts. Yeah. They're not doing that quite as much. It's either like he's on the show or he's not.
Oh, okay, it's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way this was put together, it made it seem like this is happening every week.
Oh no! This was the first time that we had kind of an extended amount of him being a part of the show like this. What'd you think of the ending where they kept playing the song at like the chop the screw like it was like a record skip?
Yeah, when it was slowly distorting, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing with the graphics being upside down. It's kind of like the Fiend is disrupting shit.
Do you think they need to bring attention to it though? Like when Renee was like, "Why is that upside down?" Or do you think if they just don't notice, like I don't know. I don't know how to.
When Renee brings attention to it, it lets you know that it wasn't on.
That they noticed it.
That it was on purpose. That it was on purpose.
Because I'm of two minds about it. Because I like subtlety, but at the same time, I like that they notice things. Because if they didn't notice things, it would just be kind of stupid.
Yeah. But it just lets you know that it was done on purpose.
Well, I knew that, but I thought she was just trying to be like, "Oh, what is going on around here?" But then nothing else really happens except for, I'll take that back because he did pop up on the screen on the Titantron every now and then. Mm-hmm. Hey, Didi, guess what I tried about a week ago?
What?
I purchased and tried that Sour Patch Kid cereal.
What?
How old are you?
I wanted to try because I wanted to see what it tasted like. It literally tasted like Sour Patch Kids in a bowl with milk.
Ugh.
That sounds horrible.
It was horrible.
Okay.
It's
all right.
disgusting.
That's what I thought.
Because usually when they have these like specialty cereals, they don't actually taste like what they're supposed to taste like.
Okay, yeah.
Like donut, like they have those like Hostess Donut cereal. I'm pretty sure they don't actually taste like real donuts.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
The little bag of donuts that they have for Hostess or whatever.
Sure.
The little powdered, whatever.
Cinnabon cereal is the ultimate best.
Does it actually taste like real
cereal?
Hell yeah! It's like little Cinnabon cereal joints, and yeah, it's good. Soft as fucking Jane. The box is really small though, for like $5.
Oh, keep that. I'll just get a Cinnabon.
But yeah, that's the shit. And
all right, guys, I gotta run. I'll see y'all later.
Oh, okay.
Peace out.
Bye.
Didn't even get the Sour Patch meter this week.
I'm sure it was at a 1 or a 2. It is, yeah.
Fairly low, right? Before we move on to the SmackDown Matters portion of the show, please support the CSPN and the WrassleCast by going over to cspn.us. Click on that tab that says Keep Our Podcast Free. Do some shopping with Amazon.com. Click on Amazon. Do your shopping as you normally would. Some of your purchase will come back to the CSPN to help keep the WrassleCast free each and every week. So shop at Amazon.com through CSPN.us and do it today. All right, Miss Didi Jonay, it is time for SmackDown Matters coming from Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, from Atlanta. Love Atlanta. All right. The New Day arrives to kick off the show. They have a match with Randy Orton and the Revival.
Yeah. Oh, there next. Big E. About the RKO machine. And it's Big E sending Orton into the post.
Thank goodness, Big E just in
Double
time.
DDT.
Wow.
Woods perched up top.
Bad knee and all.
There's no way. Nobody's in. Woods with the elbow. Almost the entire distance of the ring.
Unreal.
Now it's Kofi Kingston back up to his feet. Don't turn around, Dawson. Don't turn around. Symbol of paradise. Down goes Dawson. Cover. Kofi Kingston and the New Day win. Here are your winners, the New Day.
Let the good feelings and the good vibes continue for the New Day.
In layman's terms, Mr. Kingston, what that means is the following. Kofi, my client, Brock Lesnar, hereby challenges you to a match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship of the World on Friday night, October 4th, at the Friday Night SmackDown premiere on Fox.
When I won this WWE title at WrestleMania, I made a promise to the entire WWE universe that I would be a fighting champion. So as far as your challenge is concerned, I accept.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Lesnar F5 to Kofi. Not a wise decision, Kofi. The WWE champion just found himself in the crosshairs of the biggest gun in the arsenal. F5 is a harsh reality.
I understand being a fighting champion, but why don't nobody be like, bitch, who are you? No. The fuck? No, you can't have a title match. Fuck out my face.
It's like, huh? Is that
Right.
Is that Brock's music? And then he comes out there, it's like, oh no. It's like,
you
oh
already said
no.
it.
And then for me, it was like, once Kofi gave him the match and he, it was set, it's just like, let him be. You got your match. You don't have to do anything to the man. Just let him be.
Right. It's like I don't have to give you anything. But I did. Why? Why would I? If I was going to give you a match, I'd be like, yeah, I'll give you a match. Once you beat, I'd be like, you got to beat them all. Go beat Randy. Go beat Joe. Go beat everybody I done fought in the last 3 months since your ass been here. Since you think you deserve shit. But that's me. I'm petty. And I believe in fairness. Although life's not fair. Shout out to your president. Anyway, Bayley and Banks arrive. I like that. I like alliteration. Sasha comments on her Hell in a Cell match with Becky. Bayley says that Banks will answer more questions in the ring tonight when she beats Charlotte. We see highlights of Roman versus Rowan. Come on, alliteration. From the Clash, including Luke Harper's return. Cole now interviews Rowan. He asks him about Harper, and Rowan says that Cole should just ask Luke. Cole then questions Rowan about his attacks on Reigns, and Rowan says he wanted to scare him with a doppelganger. Can we talk about the doppelganger? Never? No? Okay, fine. Sure. Rowan tells Cole to lower his volume. Wait a minute. I like that. You better tell somebody to lower their volume. Fuck yes. And says he did what he did to show Reigns he's not in control. He has cancer. He knows he's not in control. Anyway, Rowan has been disrespected for far too long and treated like a goon and a puppet. That's true. He's a leader, That's debatable. In regards to Daniel Bryan, he's Bryan's intellectual superior. That's rude, but who knows? He will learn to not disrespect him again. I like this attitude on him. Sammy arrives. Oh, no, that's it. How do you feel about it?
It was funny. Every time that Michael Cole gets threatened, it's always a great segment.
It's like an angel gets his wings, right? Like, it
Right.
just feels good.
And he seemed more, the promo seemed a lot better, a lot more natural in the setting like this than instead of in front of the audience in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So, he came off stronger in his speaking this week.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Samito arrives and actually reminds us that Ali recently beat Nakamura. This is a different Nakamura. They attack Ali because who fights fair? And Nakamura beats him down. They're Kinshasa. Kevin Owens arrives in the crowd and takes a seat. Oh, yeah, because Kevin got fired last week. Shane has been served with papers and he's not happy. That's right, because you assaulted him. The fuck? Shane arrives and is flanked by security. He gets special instructions as Kevin shows off his ticket from the crowd. Shane is not amused by the papers he was served and tells Kevin to come to the ring. He does. Security makes a wall to protect Shane. Shane tells them to step out and says the papers he was served with were for a huge wrongful termination suit worth $25 million if Kevin were to win. What an icon. Can we just say?
That's smart. Brilliant.
Right? Like, you and it's like, sometimes you are an at-will employee, and sometimes, no, bitch, you can't fire me because I didn't break the rules for you. It's not a thing. Sorry. So I like when there's a little bit of realism in my shenanigans. Like, no, honey, you can't just fire me. It was wrongful. Thank you so much. So Kevin tells him to shut up and calls him a dumbass. Shane says his case is weak, but Kevin says he's wrong because Shane has been targeting him for weeks. Shane fined him for attacking an official, which Shane did last week when he attacked Kevin. Actual factuals. But Shane didn't get fined. He fired Kevin. Kevin says he just did the job he was given, also true. Swallowed his pride, also true. And did Shane's bidding, also true. But Shane still failed and tapped out. Boom. Roasted. Nothing hurts more than facts. Shane then tried to take everything from him, and now all Kevin wants is to hurt Shane. And the best way to do that is by attacking Shane's wallet and his pride. Kevin then says that the papers say that when he wins, he gets to come back, stare Shane in the face, and fire Shane. He bails as Shane looks dumbfounded. What an icon. Who does it like the Canadian?
Yeah, this was pretty strong after last week. He was looking so weak. They at least gave him some backbone this week and gave him some smarts.
You start hanging out with Ciampa, things go a little bit better for you. You gotta surround yourself with the right friend group, okay? Ric Flair is backstage with his daughter. Okay. We get a good AOP video package. Same one that was on Raw. It was subtitled, right? They weren't speaking English. Okay, that's what I thought I saw. I like subtitles, personally. Offset is here to introduce Charlotte because, he's like an adopted child of Ric Flair. Or maybe a real child. It is Ric Flair. Who could know?
He was in the Ric Flair robe as well. At first, I thought we was about to get a little bit of the Ric Flair drip. But no, he just came out there and introduced Charlotte.
I mean, I guess that's fine, too. So, yeah, Charlotte and Sasha have a match. Charlotte kicks Sasha to the floor. She heads up top and moonsaults onto Bayley and Banks. They work into counters, and Charlotte locks on the figure 8. Bayley makes the save, causing a DQ. We consider DQs distractions, so please take a sip. Post-match, Carmella makes the save for whatever reason.
Carmella?
Carmella. Don't know why, but she did. I don't know if it's bond stick together type shenanigans or
she must feel like she is entitled to a SmackDown Women's title match or something.
That's so interesting because if you're entitled to anything, it's the 24/7 title because you've helped R-Truth win it like 18 times. Like, you could just pin your friend, and I mean,
this is the first time Sasha and Charlotte have wrestled in like over a year, almost 2.
Really?
After
I feel like they used to wrestle every other week.
Yes, I was about to say after like 2 years of them wrestling like every month, 3 times a month.
That's crazy. I wonder if they miss each other.
They kind of was. It was a little rough in the beginning. You could tell they haven't
like
wrestled.
The rhythm wasn't bad.
Yeah, they hadn't wrestled each other in a while. But then by the middle of the match, it started getting back to what it usually is.
That's good.
Yeah, these are the two ladies who. Well, I'll put it like this. I went looking for NXT to watch Charlotte, but then when I got there, I fell in love with Sasha Banks.
Yeah, I remember them being like the big thing before the call up because I remember the Iron Woman matches and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm glad they get to be the big boss bitches again. I don't know why Carmella came up, but anyway, as you may know, Boring Corbin is King of the Ring, so he has to have a coronation ceremony.
Address him properly.
Yes. Sure, whatever. Corbin arrives and puts on the crown and the cape. Corbin says he knows he's a breath of fresh air as king. That's interesting. He's the king they needed because you can believe in him. He's dominant, strong, generous, fair. And as his first act as king, he wants to recognize Chad Gable, who arrives. Corbin says it's big of Gable to come out here, shade, because he's a little upset about the results. I will punch you in your throat. Okay? As somebody who is 5'2", don't make jokes about my height. I know how tall I am. Get out of my face. Like, I'll dead ass punch you in your sternum or like your solar plexus. I step on your instep. Don't play with me. I don't find it funny. I'm not vertically challenged, ho. You too tall. Sitting up there, all that. What's it called? Not oxygen, carbon monoxide, because it's all up in the atmosphere because you're 17 feet tall, because you got pituitary issues. But anyway.
What?
I might be a little bit bitter because I'm short. Who knows? Anyway, he keeps mocking his height and says Gable is an example that if you dream big and try hard, what a bitch, you come up short. See, this is why people get beat up. And just like I said, Chad Gable attacks him, fucks up the throne, beats on Corbin with the scepter, rips up the cape. Corbin is throwing a fit on the outside of the ring. Inside the ring, Gable's like, fuck your crown, and stomps on it. So the fuck you get.
So disrespectful. That's not the way you treat a king.
Fuck yeah, it is. You ain't never heard what happened to Marie Antoinette's husband? Oh, what is it? Child, I live. Fuck out of here. Anyway, heavy machinery. Oh, I love the B team. Tucker battles back with a lariat. He tags in big old Otis, who runs wild with clotheslines and a spinning slam. Otis fires up and dances, headbutts Dallas and hits an overhead toss. Then the Caterpillar follows, and the compactor finishes it. The compactor looks like it hurts everybody involved.
They begin to transition Otis into a singles star.
I think he's the one. He's got all the personality.
He's not wearing the singlet no more. He had on tights. So
he had on tights, but he had on little
Yeah, he had on just not instead of the whole, the onesie. He didn't have the onesie on no more.
He had on pants, but he had on like a little swimsuit bottom.
Yeah. He had on regular trunks. Yeah, so
that's what I thought. I thought I saw some thigh. Okay.
Yeah. So he's slowly making his way into being the one that's standing out.
I wonder how that feels to be like that guy. And then I wonder, can the other one, what's his name?
Tucker?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Tucker can make like Dawkins did. Like every time y'all used to talk about Street Profits, it was always Binky's husband. Could not think of his name. Montez. It was, I got there, but Binky's husband was the first thing that came in my head. But for like months and months and months, all y'all ever talked about was Montez. That's the guy. Oh my God, that's the guy. But like slowly but surely, it started being more about Dawkins. Oh, he funny. Oh, I see. Oh. So I just wonder, oh shit, James Bond is fighting a big ass snake. That's terrifying. I just wonder if Tucker could make that same change as well. Like, could he shock the system and be like that guy. The charisma.
That's about to say, I don't know if he's got that charisma deep down in it. Like Angelo Dawkins has always had the charisma. He just never had a way to get it out of him, but he always had it in him. I don't even see it in Tucker. I've never seen it in him. Him and Angelo Dawkins have been in were NXT like the two longest people. Angelo Dawkins is like the longest.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's been in NXT like 7 years or something like that. Yeah, he's had all kinds of gimmicks. Like he was even running with Sasha Banks when she first came.
Aww, that's cute. We're not done. Daniel Bryan arrives and says the people chanting his name were the same that accused him of attacking Reigns. We thought you did. Shut the fuck up. He understands, but says he's never lied to them. He has been exonerated, but wants to talk about Rowan. First of all, I don't know who hired the doppelganger, so you are not exonerated at all. But anyway, he saw Rowan, how special and talented he was, and treated him like an equal and a friend. Rowan arrives and says that Daniel Bryan needs to stop talking. They aren't equals, because Bryan never let him talk. He tried to make him a follower. Bryan didn't care about his feelings, and he won't be disrespected. Bryan dares him to do something because Rowan can't do anything worse than betraying him and lying. I just want to know what happened to Daniel Bryan. Who lied? Who was the lie? Who did it? Who hurt you? Because, everybody don't like a liar, but you seem really, in your bag about it. But anyway, Harper attacks. But Reigns arrives, and Superman punches Eric Rowan and then hits the drive-by?
Drive-by. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Drive-by.
Missed the letter.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I didn't have to write it. It's fine. Harper cuts him off and whips him into the steps. Then they powerbomb Roman into the post and pull up the mess. Then they kick security's ass and slam them down on the exposed floor. Eric Rowan uses a piece of the barricade to take out Roman, and they clear off the announce table, grab Daniel Bryan, and work him over. Then they slam Daniel Bryan through the announce table and stand tall. I'm just saying, is the doppelganger going to be their third person? I'm not over it. I thought I would get over it, and I'm still not.
I was thinking that it wasn't going to be Luke Harper. It was going to be the doppelganger.
Right.
And then
it should be.
Right, and then this all makes sense as they go to, he's helping them and they're destroying Daniel Bryan and Roman, and then it leads to a tag team match, and then Daniel Bryan turns on Roman in a tag team match, and it's like, we had you fooled all along. Ha 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 ha. Scooby-Doo style.
It's all about the meddling kids, but people just won't be great.
No, that would be some Sting trusting Ric Flair type shit for the 495th time in WCW, and they turned on him like, really? Your thoughts on this week's edition of SmackDown, your rating?
Oh, 4.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, this shit was good.
4. Mm-hmm.
Even with Brock showing up and doing Brock things to go.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Brock was there. 3. Okay, I'm joking.
Yeah, I enjoyed this edition of SmackDown. Actually, Raw and SmackDown were really good this week.
Mm-hmm.
Raw was going up against Monday Night Football, so football's back. So that's the reason why, the first 30 minutes are usually really good. They have a lot of stuff up front. And then SmackDown, they were the lead-in to the big news and the big show of the week, which was NXT debuting on the USA Network. Miss Didi Jonay, I know you're not a normal watcher of NXT, but did you tune into this edition on USA?
I did tune into the first hour.
Okay.
On USA, yes, I did.
All right, so this will be good to get this feedback from you in real time, because normally it's just a solo effort here from me. But I felt like hopefully, like I put on Twitter, hopefully everybody who follows us who really doesn't watch NXT more than just the takeovers, hopefully they tuned into this and got a taste of what I've been watching for the last 4 years and come back each and every week following. Uncle Paul, Triple H, opens the show with a great promo hyping the future. He says it's now and that this is NXT, and he pulls the curtain back and we are in the NXT arena live in Full Sail University. Mauro Ranallo, the lead announcer of NXT, welcomes us to the show, and then we get it popping with the number one contenders match, fatal 4-way between Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae. Very significant. The very first person that we see who is a member of the NXT roster on the debut episode on USA, evil Io Shirai, and her awesome ass fucking gear and music. Her intro music is so fucking lit. This match was crazy. We get a spear by Bianca Belair. The KOD connects on Candice for a 2 count as Mia Yim makes the save. Mia hits the protection neck and gets dumped to the floor. Io Shirai hits double knees on Candice and then gets tossed to the floor onto Bianca Belair by Mia Yim. Mia Yim and Candice are up on the top rope. Candice hits a super poison Rana. Then she hits the Lion Salt, and Candice LeRae, Candice Wrestling, gets the win, and she is the new number one contender for Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's title. This was a banger. I loved everything about it. I love the look of NXT. They kind of changed it around a little bit. They took the stage down, so they just have kind of like, they just walk out on like a flat floor entrance. It looks like they have like a little bit more people in there. I like the way that it was lit. They have the crowd dark and the ring lit up really well. So it focuses everything on the ring and not like the person in the 29th row picking their nose. You don't see what they're doing. And then the very first big spot you see is Bianca Belair press slamming Candice LeRae and then hitting the handspring back moonsault. I thought everybody got a really good chance to shine in this match. Really good booking because the other 3 women have all had some type of title match against Shayna Baszler. Candice LeRae was the only woman who's not had a title match, so this is a fresh match. So I thought that was really good booking by Triple H and those guys, getting Candice LeRae into this position. So after the match, Shayna Baszler and her crew arrive, and they have a face-off with Candice going towards the entranceway. Then we get a video package on Keith Lee and Donovan Dijakovic. I can't say his name worth a damn. It's Dijakovic, or whatever. They're going to face each other again next week. Then they hype up Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane, which is going to take place in the main event for hour 2. Then we have Cameron Grimes versus Sean Maluta. If you blinked or looked down at your phone, you missed it, because Cameron Grimes hits the running double stomp and he gets the immediate pin over Sean Maluta. Remember last week when I was talking about his gear and how he needs to step it up? Well, I might have to reconsider that, because I had a revelation and I found, and it came to me based off of actually hearing his ring song, his ring music. He's supposed to be Ronnie Van Zant, the former lead singer of Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh, okay.
Because if you ever seen Lynyrd Skynyrd, they have those same hats and they always have that vest on. And then for some reason I heard his music and it just clicked. And it's like, because he's from North Carolina, he's Southern. You know, Lynyrd Skynyrd was like, you know, the biggest Southern rock band in the 70s. It's like, he doesn't look so dumb with that hat on now. We get a Damian Priest video package. And then we get the main event for hour 1 on the USA Network. Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong North American title match. The Undisputed Era arrives and they surround the ringside area as Strong trade strikes with the Velveteen Dream. We get a big backdrop by the Velveteen Dream, and then we get a ref bump. The Dream Valley Driver follows. The Velveteen Dream fights off the Undisputed Era, but Roderick Strong hits the end of Heartache, and Velveteen Dream kicks out at 2. Dream musters up strength, and he hits another Dream Valley Driver. He heads up top for the Purple Rainmaker, but Adam Cole super kicks the Dream off the top. Roderick Strong hits the end of Heartache, and Roderick Strong gets the 3 count to become the new NXT North American Champion. And the prophecy has been fulfilled. The Undisputed Era have all the titles, the tag team titles, the North American title, and the NXT World Championship in their possession. This was a hell of a match. Hate that it had to be Velveteen Dream that took the L, but everybody knew the prophecy was going to be fulfilled. Just didn't know when. But it is here now. Undisputed Era clearly positioned as the lead dogs in NXT. So they're going to be the people who are going to be setting the pace, basically in the fight against AEW in a couple of weeks, because they're going to be featured in all the big matches and all the big programs. We get a big graphic that tells us that Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler will take place in 2 weeks, which means that they will be going head to head with the inaugural show from AEW.
Yeah.
Now, for something that is new to me, new to everyone, we have a second hour of NXT. It was weird because it usually only takes me about like 7 minutes to take these notes. Today it took like 15 or 20. But the second hour, like I said last week, took place on the network. Well, wouldn't you know it? Everybody was so interested in the USA version that they all went over to the network at the same time, and it crashed. So most people.
This is a sabotage.
Remember when I told you last week it wasn't smart?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why it wasn't smart, because you got everybody all into it, and now all these people coming over to the network that's already wonky as fuck to begin with since they upgraded it. So it took people about 30 minutes to get into the actual network so they could watch the second hour from the beginning. Our first match, Pete Dunne versus Arturo Ruas. Dunne stomps away at Ruas, locks on the triangle, but Ruas counters out and hits a German for a 2 count. Dunne cuts off Ruas with an enziguri, and the triangle follows. He snaps the fingers, and Ruas has to tap. This was cool because Arturo Ruas is like a jiu-jitsu guy. He does capoeira as well. So he has a really funky style. Mm-hmm. And it meshed really well with Pete Dunne. This was a really cool match. Hard-hitting, a lot of fun. Arturo Ruas wrestles barefooted. So at one point, Pete Dunne did the finger snap to his toes. Very innovative offense by Pete Dunne. We get a Dakota Kai video package. She's coming back next week. Aaliyah faced off against Xia Li. Xia Li hits a drop kick, and then she hits the Robinson special to get the quick win over Aaliyah. Bartel, Wolf, and Fabian Eichner of NXT UK arrive and kick the shit out of this young black dude. His name was like Denzel Dejacornet or some shit, but for the sake of my notes, Denzel Kickpads. The crowd wants Walter, but the European Bomb lays out Denzel Kickpads instead. Walter then finally comes out to the light of the crowd. Walter says that they are Imperial. Walter says that the mat is sacred, and they are here to restore honor to it. And from today on, those who disrespect that tradition, they will answer to him. That's when Kushida arrives and says that this was his time, and now that they're on his time, they belong to him. He attacks Imperium until Walter cuts him off. Walter goes to like snatch him up. It's just like some type of like power slam or choke slam or something. And Kushida just like dropped out of he wears like a t-shirt. He had like a t-shirt and that Marty McFly vest. So he just like drops down and comes out of it and just like, so Walter's just holding the clothes. And then he gives Walter like a kick, and then he realizes like, oh shit, they about to get the best of me, and he gets out of the ring before they can attack him. So a really interesting thing with Kushida and Walter, just because, we really haven't seen a lot of Kushida. He had a little thing with Drew Gulak, and then we've had some videos, but we haven't really seen him in the ring. I think he did some things down on 205 Live for a couple of weeks, but this is the first time he's really been back in NXT in about a month and a half, and to put him up against Walter, very, very interesting. Next up, we had a Cruiserweight number 1 contenders match as Oney Lorcan faced off against Lio Rush. He's back, y'all. Oney Lorcan applies to STF. Leo fades and then fires up and crawls to the ropes as the crowd rallies for him. Lorcan is pissed. Leo fires back with a flurry. Leo slaps Oney Lorcan. Then Oney Lorcan repeatedly slaps Leo and then runs into a Spanish fly. Leo Rush then heads up top and he hits the big frog splash and he gets the win. So good to see Leo Rush back in action. He's going to get a Cruiserweight Championship match against Drew Gulak in the future. He did this really cool move though, where Oney Lorcan was throwing him like he's gonna throw him like out of the ring, and somehow this mug Leo Rush bounced like off the bottom rope, like in between the bottom rope and the middle rope, bounced back and then caught Oney Lorcan with a stunner. That shit was hot.
Yeah. I saw a gif of that. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it looked like he was on a string. Looked like it was some Matrix shenanigans, the way he bounced back like that. But yeah, it was really good. So hopefully this is a, step in the right direction for Lio Rush. He's back down in NXT, away from the main roster and all that grind. And hopefully, he can keep his mind right, stay focused, and do some great things in 205 Live and NXT. So good to see Lio Rush. Glad to hear that he's in a good place. He picked up a good win. This was a good match, hard hitting, lots of action. Really go back and check it out just to see that stunner that Lio Rush did. It's worth the time of watching the match. Main event, Matt Riddle versus Killian Dane in a street fight. They brawl backstage, then outside. Killian Dane slams Riddle into the side of a semi-truck. Walter is there, and he attacks Riddle as Imperium joins in until the Street Profits and the Forgotten Sons join into the brawl. And then, like, everybody on the roster was, like, brawling who was there. It's just a big-ass fight. Dane and Riddle brawl back into the arena along with all the others. Riddle tackles Dane until security separates them. Riddle starts suplexing security guards as we get a mass brawl in the ring. Killian Dane follows with a suicide dive onto the pile of bodies to close out the show. So yeah, this was just like, I don't know, just like 20 guys just fighting. Various people just fighting around the outside of the building, inside the building, around the ring. This was wild. This was real wild. So continues the theme of Killian Dane and Matt Riddle wrestling and nobody winning. They just dissolve every match into a brawl. So that was 2 hours of NXT on the big time stage, 1 hour on USA. The first hour on USA was so good. Starting off with that women's four-way match just showed the talent that they have in the women's division. It's always been one of the strongest parts of NXT, and nothing has changed. The main event, I know a lot of everybody, especially listens here, totally upset that The Dream lost his North American title, that Kofi's going to lose his WWE title, and all the champions are going to be white again going into the new era on Fox and everything. But you knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time before the Undisputed Era got the titles. Sets up really cool war games, but I wonder who it's going to be against. So can't wait for November to come around and we see what that's going to come into. I do have one programming note before we do get into the shout outs and thank yous to end the show.
Yes.
Please go watch the Sasha Banks Chronicle. It basically is the story of why she left, and she kind of goes through the reasons that prompted her to take the sabbatical and kind of what she did during the sabbatical, and she talks about how things started kind of turning for her when Paige got hurt. Mm-hmm. And how negative the people were on Twitter and things like that, and it just kind of got her in a bad place. And then she couldn't get out of it, and she just talks about how she was at WrassleMania and she wasn't feeling it, and she was just going through the motions, and she was just like, yeah, I gotta get out. And she was like, she kind of went to her husband and was like, hey, I think I'm gonna quit for a minute, and he didn't stop her. And then she went to Bailey and told Bailey the same thing, and when Bailey didn't try to stop her and was like, yeah, you probably need to, she was like, yeah, I was definitely gonna do it. So it kind of goes through her trials and tribulations with just kind of, she said she lost herself. She said that she was like, it was cool to hear people call me by my real name. She was like, I haven't heard people call me by my real name in like 7 years. She was like, she's like, she lost herself. And so she just kind of needed to find herself. And she said, she was depressed and had a really big funk. And she said the time away was really good because she got to do a lot of things that she had been missing, and, got a chance to find herself. And then it goes through her dark period, and then it kind of shows her as she comes back and starts making her comeback, and follows her through the day when she shows up on Monday Night Raw and things like that. So it's a really, really good program, really good insight into why she needed to step away and take that time off. What's really interesting to me is that when she said that she needed to hear her real name, it was good to hear her real name. And that might be the difference between a wrestler today and a wrestler from 30 years ago. Because, I don't think that Richard Fleur exists anymore. It is all Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Whatever Roddy Piper's real name was, I don't think he exists anymore. It's Roddy Piper or Dusty Rhodes, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like Steve Austin. You know what I'm saying? Steve Williams don't exist anymore. It is Steve Austin. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whereas maybe if you're the Undertaker, it's a lot easier to kind of like separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Because of all the garb and get up and, the whatever.
Yeah.
But, if you're, Shawn Michaels, when you're living that lifestyle, I mean, you're Shawn Michaels, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't think that those guys ever turned it off or ever learned how to turn it off or, ever maybe didn't want to turn it off. Whereas it seems like maybe wrestlers today are kind of like, hey, when I'm at work, I'm this guy. And then, when I'm off of work, I'm this person,
Yeah, I think also they kind of have to. There's too much social media to be that person all the time. Like when Ric Flair was Ric Flair all the time, there were no pictures of it. There was nobody shoving a camera in his face. Well, there were, but it wasn't like it is now. It's like now they don't get any rest anywhere they go. And so they have to be on and they have to do it. So if you are trying to keep them separated, it's much more difficult.
Right.
Much, much more difficult.
And that kind of sounds like that's what she was dealing with, that, You know, she'd been, and I'm pretty sure that her booking, she didn't necessarily say this as far as in the documentary, but I'm pretty sure the way that she had been booked and the way that, you know, she thought that she was going to have a chance to kind of establish the tag team titles, and then they kind of snatched that out from under her. I'm pretty sure all of that led to a big reason why too, but she didn't really say that.
Yeah, it's still a WWE product.
Right.
Like, you know, they're not going to have her say, y'all treated the title like bullshit and you gave it to people who didn't deserve it, and it pissed me off and it stressed me out. It exacerbated all these other things that happened. Like, she never gonna do that. Right. Even if we all know that that's exactly what was a contributing factor, not necessarily even the big thing, but definitely a thing.
Right. So, like I said, good programming note. Check that out. It's probably about like 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. It's not too long.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Also, if you're a fan of AEW and you want to get excited about the TV show, they have announced the name. It is called Wednesday Night Dynamite. The hashtag that you guys voted on will be hashtag DynamiteCast. So we'll be using that on October 2nd. Please go watch the Road to TNT little episodes they have on YouTube. They have Tony Schiavone doing the Control Center like back in the day, WWF, WCW. But they have MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, cut this amazing promo in like the first like 2 minutes of the new one. Check it out. This dude is like 23 years old, 22 years old. He is so good. Like, AEW is so lucky that they have him, because if he was on NXT, he would be a super duper star in like 5 minutes. Yeah, he is really talented. He's really good. He can talk. Oh my gosh, his promos are amazing. And if AEW continues with their kind of let their performers do their own promos, yeah, he's going to kill it every week. So check out the Road to TNT episodes on YouTube, on the All Elite Wrestling YouTube page. Check that out. Some really good stuff. Really cool content. I like the way it's shot. And they usually have some really strong episodes, so please check that out. All right, Miss Didi Jonay, before my dogs get to acting up too much because it's a late night and they need to go out, your shout outs and thank yous.
Shout out to me because it's still my birthday. Shout out to Greg and the baby.
Oh, where'd you go? Oh, are you there? You broke up. You have to redo all your shout outs because technology was not being kind to you.
Oh, that's bullshit. Shout out to me. Nah, I quit. Shout out to me. No. Shout out to me.
All right. I'd like to give a shout out to Miss Didi Jonay. Give a shout out to Samuel Kalunga for joining us tonight. It's always good to talk to Sam. Give a shout out to Greg. Give a shout out to Classic. Give a shout out to everybody here on the CSPN. Give a shout out to the Glow and everybody who uses the hashtags RawCast, SmackDown Matters, and NXTcast. The live tweets with us, shares their commentary with color. We definitely appreciate it. Remember to rate and review the podcast on iTunes or through whatever podcast app or site you listen to the show on. 5 stars would be the best. Thank you very much. Don't forget about the Patreon page. You can support the WrassleCast by becoming a member on our Patreon page. We do have multiple tiers. We have a $1 tier, a $3 tier, and a $5 tier. If you start at the $3 tier or the $5 tier, you will gain access to the Dark Match, which are the pre and post show conversations that take place between the WrassleCast and Cast a Strong Style. So you can hear some additional thoughts on wrestling and just life in general. Again, starting on October 2nd, all our AEW reviews will be taking place on the Dark Match. So if you want to hear our thoughts and our reviews of everything AEW, please subscribe to the Dark Match over on patreon.com/CSPN Media. And on that note, for my SmackDown Matters correspondent, Miss Didi Jonay, and our RawCast journalist, Mr. Samuel Kalunga. I'm your host, Don Delarente. This has been episode 255 of the WrassleCast. Please stay tuned for the parting promo.
Really, Kevin? You know what? Kevin? I can see this is no coincidence how all of a sudden I get served. You're here in the audience. So why don't we kind of cut the shenanigans and why don't you come in the ring? Security, let him in the ring. Get him a mic. Okay? And we can talk about what I'm holding in my hand face to face because you obviously have something to say. Get him a mic. Let him over. Let him over. Hey. Let him over. Whoa, slow it down, guys. Get him a mic. Get him a mic. Let him in the ring. Let him in the ring. Really, Kevin? You know what, guys? This is going to be all right because we're going to talk about something. You guys can step out. Step out. I got to talk man on man. Really? What you guys don't know is what I'm holding in my hand after just glancing at it is the largest wrongful termination lawsuit in history. If Kevin Owens wins, he would be awarded $25 million. That's a very big number, Kevin. Very big. And you are obviously swimming where you shouldn't be swimming right now. Kevin, I look at you.
You know, you want me to talk. Maybe you should shut your stupid mouth and listen, you dumbass.
Oh, really?
You know why? Because ever since I came out here several weeks ago and I said out loud what everybody's been thinking about you for years, which is that you have ruined SmackDown by making it your personal playground. Now, You've been targeting me. You've tried to make my life a living hell. One example, after SummerSlam, you fined me $100,000 for beating the hell out of your crooked referee Elias. Yet, what happened? You're right, I shouldn't have put my hand on an official, right? What happened last week when I was the referee for your match against Chad Gable? Let me see. Oh, you couldn't get the job done. And then you attacked me from behind like a coward. You laid your hands on an official, which is exactly what you fined me for. You fired me on the grounds that I was being insubordinate. Insubordinate. See, that's where my case rests. That's where my case lays, is the fact that I wasn't being insubordinate. Actually, it was quite the opposite. Because that fine, you held over, that $100,000 fine over my head for weeks. And finally last week, I swallowed my pride. I thought of what was best for my family. And as sick as it made me to do it, I did exactly what you wanted me to do. I tried to help you. I tried to help you beat Chad Gable, and you still couldn't do it. You lost. You know why? Because you tapped out. You tapped out. You tapped out. You. I've tried to reason with you. I've tried to fight you. Last week I even tried to help you. But now all I want to do is hurt you. But I finally realized that the best way to do that is hit you where it hurts the most. And that is your wallet and your pride. So Shane, make no mistake about it. This is about a lot more than money. I have a case, and you know it. I can see it in your face. I have a legitimate case. But I guess you didn't read those papers very thoroughly, because it's not just about taking millions of dollars away from you, which is going to feel great, but there's another clause in there. And that's when I win, I get to come back here, stand in the middle of this ring, and look at you dead in the eyes
in front of the entire WWE universe and say, Shane McMahon, you're fired!